Hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you for an ML Sports Take brought to you by Empower Federal Credit Union, Welch and Company Jewelers, and our good friends at Hides of Liverpool. Log on to hidesofliverpool.com today. If you're in and around Central New York, grab a gift card for the holiday season and reserve the mobile unit for summer of 2021 for any and all events. Robinson Cano, PEDs again. He's out 2021 season, and now Steve Cohen, the brand new owner of the New York Mets, will have another 20 and change to work with $1 million to try and go lure JT Realmuto, George Springer, perhaps Trevor Bauer. But the real story here is Robinson Cano, not the money, not the situation, etc. It's the wasted talent of Robinson Cano. And again, way back when the Yankees were playing around with possibly giving him 10 years and 200 million to 220 million. Seattle ended up coming in at 240 million in 10 years. I still wanted Robinson Cano at that time. I mean, he had won a World Series in 2009. He was one of the most durable players in all of baseball. He made it look super easy at the second base position. I mean, did anybody start a double play better than Cano? Did anybody finish it with that rocket right arm and just flinging it better than Robinson Cano? Probably not. And I remember him and Derek Jeter together was a thing of beauty. Robinson Cano is literally one of the most talented players I've ever seen in my entire life. Just roping balls from the left side of the plate down the short porch of Yankee Stadium. He was probably good for 290 or 330 home runs and 100 RBI every single season. Solid OBP, slugging, etc. But he was lazy, and he didn't really work that hard. Joe Girardi called him out multiple times. And the one thing that I will always think about Robinson Cano is that he could have, forget about Seattle, forget about the PED test twice, forget about the New York Mets situation. He could have been an all-time Yankee. I mean, I think this is what it really is all about. I mean, Robinson Cano had the perfect situation. The Yankees did offer him 7 years and more years, more million per year, more dollars per year in millions, that is, than Seattle did for the totality of the contract. But he had to have 10 years and 240 with Jay-Z and company negotiating. But Robinson Cano should have stayed in New York. He should have stayed in New York for the 7 years. He had more stability. He had a better roster around him. He had a better chance to win. And he could have gone on to be one of the greatest Yankees of all time. Now, do I know that steroids wouldn't have happened? Of course not. He still could have slipped up. He was still a loose cannon. He was buddies with Melky Cabrera, and ultimately screwed things up, and the Yankees didn't want him around. The problem with the Yankees was that they didn't give Cano the money, but what did they settle on? Well, they gave 7 years and $153 million to a waste in Jacoby Ellsbury. And if you look back in time, I'd still take Cano 10 at 240, then Jacoby at 7 and 153. But you think about all-time second baseman, you think about Joe Gordon, you think about Willie Randolph, you think about what could have been with Robinson Cano going into the retired numbers, going into Monument Park, etc., and also going into the damn Hall of Fame, whether he finished his career in pinstripes or not. Robinson Cano is going to go down as one of the all-time truly horrible bust, sad stories from a talent standpoint in the history of baseball. If he had just worked a little bit harder and been a little bit smarter with the PEDs and stayed away and just worked his tail off, much like some of the other players that we've seen stay clean. But look at Derek Jeter. I mean, how do you not have that example rung right into your head if you're Robbie Cano? For God's sakes, you were teammates with him, working the double play, second base, shortstop, etc. Jeter going to the Hall of Fame first ballot. Unfortunately, we couldn't go down there to see him in Cooperstown this summer. But Robinson Cano, to me, just a terrible situation and an absolute waste when you look at raw talent. Again, one of the most talented players I've ever seen, one of the great arms, one of the great swings, and he's going to just be remembered by a double PED situation. Now he will never get into the Hall of Fame. Mike Lindsley with you, an ML Sports Take here, brought to you by Brian Comboy of Mass Mutual, New York State, Welch and Company Jewelers, and our great friends over at Pelra Contracting. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.